I built my cabin 20 years ago, long before there was an HOA in this valley. Back then, it was just open land, pine trees, and quiet. Over time, developers whooped in, carved up the lots, and brought with them the dreaded 3 letters HOA. At first, they left me alone. I wasn't technically part of their community, but the board never liked the fact that my rustic log cabin sat proudly at the entrance of Pine Ridge Estates. Karen, the HOA president, used to sneer at it. "Your shack drags down property values," she would say at every opportunity. But I didn't care. My taxes were paid, my land was mine, and that cabin wasn't going anywhere. Or so I thought. One morning, I woke up to a paper nailed to my door. Notice, demolish structure within 72 hours or face penalties. It was signed by Karen herself, stamped with the HOA seal. I laughed at first, until neighbors warned me she was serious. She'd been telling everyone the HOA secured rights to remove my cabin as a public nuisance. The problem? Karen had forgotten one very important detail. See, when the HOA bought their land, they signed a 99-year lease for water rights, electrical access, and their community office space. Who owned those rights and that office? Me. I called an emergency meeting with my lawyer. Within hours, we reviewed the lease agreements I'd held onto for decades. The HOA was paying me pennies compared to current market rates. And Karen's little demolition stunt? It triggered a clause that gave me grounds to renegotiate terms immediately. By sunset, certified letters went out to every board member. Effective immediately, rent for all HOA facilities and utilities is increased 3-fold. Non-payment will result in eviction. The cabin demolition notice was crumpled in my trash can. The next day, chaos hit Pine Ridge Estates. Their office rent skyrocketed. Their water bills tripled. Their utility payments were suddenly bleeding the budget dry. Homeowners flooded the board with complaints demanding answers. Karen stormed up to my gate, waving papers again. "You can't do this. We won't pay," she shrieked. "Oh, you'll pay," I said calmly, "or you'll lose your office and utilities. It's all in the lease you signed 20 years ago." She sputtered, turned red, and threatened to sue. But she didn't know who she was messing with. 2 weeks later, we were in court. Karen strutted in, thinking her HOA bylaws were ironclad. She didn't realize that my contracts with the county predated her entire neighborhood. When the judge asked me to present my case, I laid it all out. The HOA leased essential services from me. Their board had violated lease terms by attempting to seize and demolish my property. Therefore, I had every right to adjust rent immediately. Karen tried to argue, but the judge cut her off. "No, his cabin is on his own land. Your HOA has zero authority to demand demolition, and given the terms of the lease, he's well within his rights to raise rent. Frankly, your notice borders on harassment."
Case dismissed.
Karen's face twisted in silent rage as the courtroom burst into whispers. The fallout was beautiful. The HOA couldn't afford their tripled rent, so within 3 months their fancy office was boarded up. Meetings were held in someone's garage. Their once pristine lawns grew patchy because water bills drained their coffers. Homeowners revolted. They blamed Karen for antagonizing me and destroying their budget. At the next election, she was voted out, humiliated, and stripped of power. And my cabin? Still standing. Still mine. In fact, with the extra rent money rolling in, I renovated it into a gorgeous mountain lodge. I added a deck, solar panels, and even a hot tub overlooking the valley. Neighbors who once sided with Karen now stopped by with admiration, sipping beers on my porch. Every time I look out at Pine Ridge Estates, I smile. The HOA gave me 72 hours to demolish my cabin. Instead, I demolished their entire budget. And all it took was one clause in a lease they never bothered to read.